for joining us once again. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Spencer Bonney. I'm the Executive Director of Achieve Brown County, and I am thrilled that you're all here today. What we are looking to share with you is a new resource that we've developed in the hopes that it will be as useful to all of you as possible as we continue to navigate the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 crisis we are facing. So that resource is a Brown County COVID-19 resource and response mapping tool. We will demo it for you shortly, but have a little bit of preamble just to create some context. And like I said, we'll leave plenty of time at the end for you to ask any questions that you have, offer any comments, feedback, etc. And one more time, you can also use the chat box to type in your questions, comments, feedback, etc. as we go on, and we'll do our best to address all of what goes in there. For those of you that know me, I am a big believer in Simon Sinek's model, starting with why. The basic premise of that model is this: to do and be our very best. If we are a leader, if we're an organization, if we are a group of people, organizations all coming together to achieve one shared vision, we all need three things. First of all, clarity of why or purpose. Second, discipline of how or discipline around the actions we all take together. And then three, consistency of what or the results that we are seeking, what we're ultimately hoping to achieve. So all of what comes after this slide is structured around this framework. Our goals for our call today are threefold. First of all, to share why we created the mapping tool and its purpose with all of you. Two, to demonstrate how the tool works and how you and your organization can contribute to it. And then three, identify what we ultimately have the potential to accomplish together and our next steps, both independently and collectively, coming out of this call. So let me start with a little bit about the journey that Achieve Brown County has been on over the past few weeks. For those of you that don't know us, we are a backbone organization for community-led collective impact around advancing positive cradle-to-career outcomes for young people. Many of you on the call are engaged with us as stakeholders, as partners, so you know that we all share the same vision for ensuring that all of our young people in Brown County have exactly what they need to succeed in school, work, and life. Well, as we're all experiencing, all of that school, work, and life that we knew prior to the advent of COVID-19 has been turned completely on its head. We don't know what a lot of that's going to look like moving forward. And like many of you and your organizations, we have been doing our best to figure out, what do we do now? Our efforts to that end have really been framed around two questions. The two questions you see on your screen here. One, how can our organization respond in the most meaningful, impactful way? And number two, and more importantly, how can we help all of you and your organizations, our community partners, respond in the most meaningful and impactful way? Because really, that is our unique role as a backbone organization for community-led collective impact. And asking those questions over and over again over the past 2.5, 3 weeks, the one answer we kept coming to was this: to do what we do well, which is leverage data, or in the case of the mapping tool we've created, basic information to facilitate collaborative action. So the tool that we've created and will demo for you here shortly is designed for one overarching purpose: to demonstrate and assess how all of your organizations from all sectors across the county, and by all sectors I mean business, nonprofits, childcare, schools, healthcare entities, government agencies, all sectors are responded to the COVID-19 crisis and meeting the many needs of our community members. Ultimately, we have designed this tool, are sharing it with you today, asking you to participate in this effort, contribute to it, to help and support our community members who need all of us the most right now. So before we show you the tool, which is really what this video call is all about. A few notes. First of all, the tool itself is far from perfect. It is not yet complete. We will be adding to it and continuously improving it as we go, but we wanted to share it with you as soon as we possibly could. We wanted to launch it as soon as we possibly could so that you all could have access to it, so that you all could start contributing to it, and so that we can all use it in the way that we have designed it to be used, which again is to demonstrate and assess all the great things that your organizations are doing in support of the people in our community. The other thing I'll say is that what's already plotted on the map, when you see it, is for demonstration purposes only. We wanted to show you the tool in its most usable form, I would say, on this call. And to do that, we have already prodded some of your organizations. For example, when we look at the map together, you will see icons for schools in our community. If you see your organization already plotted on the map and some organization, some information about your organization in the box that pops up when we mouse over it, you will still have the opportunity to provide us with any information that you would like to be put in that box. Also, if you do not see your organization on the map yet, don't worry, you will have the opportunity to send us information and we will plot it and populate that information for you. So again, what you're going to see in just a moment is just for demonstration purposes. Coming out of this call, you will have every opportunity to give us exactly what you want us to put on this map. All right. With that, I am going to stop sharing my screen. And I am going to give my colleague Christian Ruvers, who has been working tirelessly behind the scenes over the past 5-6 days to develop the map, the opportunity to share it with you. So Christian, it's all yours.
All right, hello everyone. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to share with you the tool that I've had a hand in, and all the ABC staff have been so helpful in creating. I'm very happy also to see a lot of familiar faces, so hello everyone. Can everyone see my screen first off?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. So our website is achievebrowncounty.org. There are a couple ways to access this map. So on the tab up here, you'll see COVID-19 response map. And we also have a button down here. So 2 ways to access it. The URL, in case you want to link it or access it directly, is achievebrowncounty.org/response map. Okay, so those of you that are familiar with Google Maps, it works just like a Google map. You can zoom in and out with 2 fingers, or you can use the plus and minus sign here. And you can drag the map just like you would expect in Google Maps. This pink outline is the outline of Brown County. And on this first page, we have all entities that we've mapped at this time. And this icon here symbolizes the different sector that the entity is from. And you will have the opportunity to list that for your organization. Below the map, we have a curated Twitter list from the Achieve Brown County Twitter account that shows at this time all organizations that are on the map. And what this will do is it'll put the most recent tweet at the top. So if someone were to tweet right now, it should pop up first thing on the list. This kind of gives us a real-time live sense of what's going on in the community, how people are responding, and just an opportunity for us to amplify the collective voice of the community. So going back up to the top, let's click through some of these tabs. So we have these in alphabetical order, starting with business. Business has this green icon with a little peaked building there. Childcare has this symbol of a child here. And how we expect this tool could be used is if I live, let's say, near the Fox River, I could say, okay, where is childcare available and what services are they still providing? I can click here, see the organization name, the category, how they're currently responding to the COVID-19 crisis, what the organization needs at this time. It might be donations, it might be resources or personal items. We also have the opportunity to submit a website link. Each organization can either put, if you have multiple locations, you can put your overarching website or that location's link there. Government entities will be symbolized by the civic building here. For the time being, we just have hospitals on the map, but we would definitely be open to putting all the clinic locations on there as well. Again, you can click on here, and given that it's Google Maps, you can click on here and get directions immediately to that location. This works on mobile and desktop. This here will full screen the map. I won't do that now because it will load in a new window, but if you do want to full screen it, you can do that. Here we have some nonprofit entities. I won't click into all of these, but I welcome everyone to explore this in your own time. School districts are color coded, and we do have Grace as well as the public school districts on here. So when you toggle back and forth between school districts and schools, you're going to see that they're color coded. So we can see the various districts on there. And again, you can zoom in as close as you need to get more granular as we go. We also have a few of the post-secondary institutions populated on here that you can click into and see what their needs might be. I want to highlight, as Spencer said, that this is just the first iteration of this, and we expect that as we go, we might try to map out the needs area, so you could very quickly say toggle between the different needs that are being met or unmet in the community to identify those needs and then see how we can take action to remedy the situation. So this tab here that I'm going to show, this is a Google form that we're sending out to gather information. We try to keep it as brief as possible because we know that surveys are a burden on people and they require your time and effort. So we have some basic contact information. Your entity type will populate that icon. Contact information, website. These are really what we're most interested in. What is your organization currently doing in response to COVID? What do you need to be most effective and continue the work? And this one specifically is, what are the specific needs of community members? So check all that apply because we want to know what remains unmet in the community. There's a few options to provide Twitter or Facebook information as well so that we can do our best to amplify the voice of all of you. And that's all I have at this time, so I'll stop sharing my screen, Spencer, and hand it back to you.
Sounds great, Christian. Thank you. I'm just going to take control again here and share my screen. So the first thing I want to do is amplify exactly what Christian said about what we need from all of you in order for this mapping tool to work, in order for it to work for us as organizations, in order for it to work for community members, because we want this to be available for members of our community to find out what organizations are doing, their needs, and what needs they are addressing. We need you to provide all of that information. So to be clear, we need you, through the Google form that we'll send you the link to after our call, provide information about what your organization is currently doing. For example, the resources that it is providing, the services that it is delivering, etc. We also need your information about what your organization needs. For example, donations, goods or dollars, volunteers, etc., to continue doing what it is doing. We know that many of you, in order to continue doing what you are doing, need more people to donate in order to meet the needs that you are striving to meet. So we would like that information from you as well so that we can share it through the map and inspire people to give. Lastly, we're looking for information from you about the needs of community members, the specific needs that your organization is addressing through the services and supports that it is providing. These are things like very basic needs: food, healthcare, childcare, etc. All of this information is asked for on the Google form, as Christian showed you. We just need you to provide it in order to put it on the map for you. So if you remember Simon Sinek's model, the what, again, is about the results that we are seeking. And there are two big things that we are striving to ultimately accomplish through using this mapping tool together. The first is the identification of not just needs that are being met, but needs that are not being met. I think it's fair to say that what we've seen thus far in the 3.5, 4 weeks now that we've all been in COVID-19 mode is just the very scratching of the surface of the needs of people in our community. As more and more people find themselves out of work, as more and more people struggle to meet those basic needs, we are going to need to respond together to meet them. And those needs are only going to continue to multiply the longer this goes. So this effort is about not just identifying the needs that we are currently collectively meeting, but it's about identifying the needs that we are not meeting so we can figure out how to meet those needs independently and, more importantly, together. This is also, to that end, or in that spirit, about team. Together, everyone achieves more. What we are asking you to consider joining us in doing is from moving from isolated impact, where each organization is doing really great things to meet the needs of our community, to collective impact, where all of our organizations are actively coordinating our actions, collaborating towards the same goal, and measuring the same thing. I can't think of a time, certainly in my life, where collective impact and what we can accomplish through it has been more critical than it is right now in our community, in our state, in our country, and frankly, around the world. This is the opportunity that we have to come together and do amazing good for the people in our community. That's what ultimately we hope this tool will inspire and engage all of us in doing together. So what are our immediate next steps? From an Achieve Brown County perspective, the first thing we're going to do is send out links to the mapping tool and the Google form immediately after this call. The second thing we're going to do is, as soon as you share your organization's information with us, we will plot your organization on the map if it's not already plotted and populate its information. We will do that as quickly as we can. In the ideal world, all of you will be rushing to complete your forms. You'll send them to us as soon as possible, and we'll have all these forms to tackle at once. We are going to do that as quickly as we can. We are also going to engage the media. In fact, we've already done that. We sent out a media advisory in hopes of getting the word out broadly about what we're doing, not just to other organizations, but to our entire community. Again, this map is not just for us, it is for all of our community members to see what we're doing and how we can help them. We are also going to further develop, as I said before, and improve upon the mapping tool, including the additions of tabs, as Christian alluded to just a few minutes ago, for the specific needs that we are both meeting and not meeting moving forward. Here are the immediate next steps for your organization. The first thing, again, that we would ask you to do is complete the Google form, or forms if your organization has multiple locations. So I'm thinking again of school districts that have multiple schools in the district. Ideally, we'd like to be able to plot all of those schools, especially if each of them is offering a service or support to students and their families. But we know that that's going to take some work on your part. If you have multiple forms to fill out, that's going to take some work. We are happy to help you with that. If there's information already out there on your websites, for example, and you want us to just take that information and put it in the map, we can help you do that. Just let us know how we can help. We also want you to continue to provide us with feedback, suggestions for improving the mapping tool. We want you to be as brutally honest as possible in giving us your feedback and suggestions. This is not about Achieve Brown County. This is about all of us. We want this to work for all of us. Lastly, we want you to share this with other organizations. We know that there are lots of organizations that are not represented on this call. We had to start somewhere. We started with our own network and a few others that we thought would benefit for being on this first call. We want as many organizations to participate in this effort as possible. We want it to be as inclusive as possible. There are equity gaps in our community, needs that are not being met that all of us need to address moving forward. And the only way we're going to do that is we get as many organizations on board. So if you know of an organization that was not on this call, please share this information with them, encourage them to reach out to us. We will hold as many calls like this as we need to in order to get people started and engaged in this effort. Lastly, for all of us, what we would ask you to do is consider beginning to assess what needs are not being met by either your own organization or all organizations across the county as we begin to plot them and populate what they are doing and the needs that they are meeting on this map. This map will be available for everybody to see, and we all have our own unique perspective on it. So let's begin to take a look at collectively what needs are not being met, so we can then consider how each of our organizations can coordinate and collaborate with other organizations, how we can begin to move towards collective impact. And to that end, we'd ask that you be ready to respond to the next invitation, wherever it comes from, whether that's from us or from other collective impact backbone organizations. There are a handful of those organizations in our community that are lining up to play a role in convening, facilitating, and supporting what we all do next. So that invitation may not come from Achieve Brown County. It may come from Wello, for example. It may come from Point. It may come from the school districts. Who knows? The point is just be ready to engage in whatever the next step is for all of us coming out of this. Be ready to offer your insights, perspectives, thoughts about how we can move forward together. So with that, we have 35 minutes, if we go the distance today, to answer your questions, address your comments, respond to your feedback, and we would ask that you share those things with us in a couple of ways. First of all, you can use the raised hand feature that is available to you to indicate your desire to speak. So the way that you access that feature is by opening the list of participants, and at the bottom of that box that opens up on your screen, you'll see a little icon with 3 dots. If you click on that, you'll see raise hand. If you click on raise hand, that will allow us the opportunity to recognize you, unmute you, and give you the opportunity to speak. You can also continue to type your questions, comments, and more feedback into the chat box, and we'll get to that as we go. And then if you have further questions, comments, or feedback coming out of this call, you can email me, any one of us at Achieve Brown County, to share that with us. So let's start with the one raised hand, and the person who is actually monitoring the questions in the chat box, Ann McCotter, our colleague at Achieve Brown County. Let's have you speak here and tell us what's in the chat box.
Well, we've had some really great questions in the chat box, so thanks to all of you. Christian, I would appreciate it, based on a question we received, if you could talk about how the updates to the map will happen in terms of how often we ABC will be updating the map, and how what's the timing between when an organization would submit a Google form and when those updates would hit the map?
I would definitely say, 2 hours tops from when we get the information. The way it works is it's just a Google sheet that populates the map. There is some manual work, so it's not automated. So definitely within half a day, it would be live on the map, ready to go.
Thank you, Christian.
Yep.
Anna, are there other questions in the chat box?
I've responded to all the questions in the chat box, so at this point, we're looking good. I think the only other piece to that question about map updates would be, how often would we expect organizations to update their information? And will we be sending out reminders to keep it current and updated, those sorts of things?
I would say for sure we will do our best on our end to reach out as often as possible, asking for those updates. One of the things that we hope to do with this map moving forward is get it to a point where we're not having to use a Google form to populate information to the map at some point here, and we're going to need some technological help in order to do this. We would like to create we'd like to create a function for all of you to get into the map on your own and update your own information. We don't know how to do that yet. We know that that is possible to do, but in order to do that, we're going to have to do a lot more work on our end. So in the meantime, you can use that Google form as often as you would like to send us updated information about what you are doing. You can also, if you would like, just send us an email saying, hey, can you update our information on the map? And we'll get to that as quickly as we can as well.
And then I think just as one more, to give a little bit more information, there was a question related to, should they be posting resources that are available for the entire community, anyone in Brown County, or should they be posting resources that are specific to one population? So within one school district or within one post-secondary institution, if there's specific groups that can have resources or there's resources available to specific groups. My response to that was that both of those situations should be on the map, whether it's for the entire community, anyone in Brown County, or to a specific population within Brown County. We'd like to include both of those types of resources. Anything to add to that, Spencer?
No, I would answer it exactly the same way. It really is a both and. It's up to you what you ultimately post, that you have control over, but you can post resources for as many people as you want or as little people as you want. I think the only other thing I would say is that we're, from an equity perspective, we're really trying to ensure as we move forward that we deliver, that we identify the needs of people that are facing the greatest challenges with them, and that we are responding in meeting the needs of those people in the most equitable way possible. So if you all could just keep that in mind as well, too, I think at the end of the day, we're all committed to the same thing, was just making sure that we address the needs of the people that need it the most.
Spencer, we have another question popping up in the chat box. Paula, hello Paula from FCR New. She's saying, is there a brief description in terms of the map and what we're trying to do, or a user guide that she could share with her staff? So I think, Paula, that's probably something we could definitely do. Spencer, do you agree?
I would agree, absolutely.
Thanks, Paula.
Other questions, and again, you can raise your hand to ask them verbally. You can type them into the chat box. I see actually a couple more in the chat box, Ann, so I'll let you read those out if you'd like.
We do. We have Samantha Tan. Hello, Samantha. Will the Zoom recording be sent out following this meeting? I believe the answer to that is yes. And Spencer, if I'm wrong, you can interject. She'd like to share this with the staff member that we have as their contact working on pulling together community resources. Thank you for that.
Awesome.
Samantha,
Yep.
we really appreciate that. And then Amy Fish, she's wondering what the thoughts are from other school districts around every school filling out the Google form or having this information being centralized. I know we have Kathy Farr from Denmark on the call, at least she was earlier. So
I'm here.
Hey Kathy, what would
Hello.
you say to that?
So I was reading that question as it came up on my screen, and I thought, I think I need to see, excuse me, the form that Christian had put up there to be able to answer that, maybe. Because I'm thinking I'm going to need to go to other people in my district and get that information. It's not going to probably come from just me. And then I was like, oh, I wish I could see that form again to be able to answer the question a little better.
Thank you for chiming in on that, Kathy. We also have Kurt Wires from Ashwaubenon on the call. Kurt, are you still with us? Could you chime in on that as well?
I am, Ann, and I was just responding in the chat line, but I can do it now instead. We will have Mandy Schrader, our communications director, complete the Google form for each of our buildings and our district as soon as I'm off.
That would be great. Thank you so much. I think we also have Ben Villarule from De Pere. If Ben is still on the call, would you want to chime in on that question in terms of the Google form by school or to be centralized by the district?
Yeah, we'll have somebody in our central office complete it, just like Kurt.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. And thank you to Kurt and thank you to Kathy Farr for chiming in. If I missed anyone else from a school district other than those who have already spoken, now's your chance to chime in.
On that same theme, I know that we have people from our healthcare entities on the video call, if not the phone, at least. Chris Elfner, I see you listed. Are you indeed on? And from your perspective, how could this map be most useful for a healthcare entity like Bellin Health?
Yeah, I am here. I think it's great to bring the community together from this perspective. I think it's a new way of looking at what we've been challenged with in the last few weeks. We do have a group that's working on how we're interacting with the community, so for sure we'll get them engaged in this work.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Spencer, I have a couple other comments in the chat box. First of all, there's a request from Kathy Farr to put the Google form back up on the screen. So Christian, if you could perhaps, or Spencer, either of you put that form back up.
Yep, Christian, I just stopped sharing so you can take control again.
And then we also had a question from Natalie Bomstead. Once I get my chat box back. And Natalie says, thank you to ABC. Thank you, Natalie. We appreciate that support. To confirm, is this resource ready to go live to the broader community? I believe that's a resounding yes. And so it's going to be on our ABC website within like a minute of ending this call. Put another way, can we start to share this link to the public to get information? Understanding content will continue to be updated as time goes along. And that's also a resounding yes. We'd really appreciate if everyone could share following the call. And I'm sure there'll be a follow-up message being sent as well. And then we have a comment. Spencer, did you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, sorry, and for interrupting. I just want to say, it occurs to me that one thing we can do in addition to sending you the link for the map and the link to the Google form is we can also send you some language that you can use in sharing this out to other people and organizations. We'll also send you the copy of the media advisory that we put out this morning. Some of that same language is in there. But yes, this is available for anybody in the community to use right now.
And we have some more positive comment from Lori. I believe this is Lori Peacock. And she says, great work, ABC team. Thank you for your attention to detail on this opportunity to connect and collaborate. Thank you, Lori. We know that this tool will only be as good as those who input data to it. So we thank you in advance for your work to everyone in attendance to get the information into the map. Kurt Wires, again, a nice comment. Thanks, ABC. Need to leave for another meeting. Well done. Thank you to Kurt. Natalie Bomstead from Wello, thank you. We'll make sure to highlight during their well-being break today. I love your Wello well-being breaks. Thank you, Natalie. Okay, that's it for now in the chat.
Christian, you want to just walk through the form one more time? Oh, you're on mute.
Okay. So at the top, we have organization name, or that would basically be location name. Organization category. Again, that populates which tab of the map it'll be on and what icon it gets. The address of your organization or the specific location. The phone number of your organization and email address. Again, these can all be based on the specific location. Organization website. Please describe what your organization is currently doing. Examples are resources it is providing, services it is delivering in response to the COVID-19 crisis. And again, I think for us, we'd rather have more detail than less. So feel free to be as comprehensive as you can be. Please detail what your organization needs. So that could be donations, volunteers, technology solutions to continue what it is doing. And again, nothing is too small or too big to put on here. If you feel like you need it to continue your work, again, be as detailed as you can be. And then here is a check all that apply, and we also have an option for other. So this is where we're kind of wanting to know, your organization is contacting directly with community members and those you serve. So we want to know what are the needs, the specific needs out there that you can check each one of these. You can check as many as apply to you specifically. This is an optional question to provide the number of people your organization is serving or providing a support to. This won't be shared. It'd only be shared in aggregate or a total, just to get an idea that people are still continuing to be served in the community, and we want to be able to report that number as a total. And then you can be really creative with this middle one here. Please provide any other information you would like the mapping tool to share. So that's when we talk about, you know, the entire community versus specific groups. You could highlight that in this question. And then lastly, we're asking for Twitter or Facebook, whatever one you feel is going to have the most real-time and informative information to share out.
So I'm thinking again of the schools and looking at that form. Amy Fish, you were the one that asked the question about how do we coordinate and consolidate our answers. When we created this, you know, our thinking was because there are individual schools in the Green Bay Area Public School District, for example, that are providing breakfast and lunch meals to students and their families, you would fill out the form for each individual school so that we could plot each individual school, as we already have. But we know that that takes time, and that information is already on your website. So if it is easier for you to say to us, just go to our website, get that information and plot it for us, we can do that. That's a little bit more work on our end, but again, if it eases the burden on your end, we will work with you to figure that out. So just know that we are willing to be flexible in getting that information from you in whatever way provides the least amount of burden to you. Other questions or comments? We will stay on the line as long as we need to, but we also know that you all are busy, have a lot of work going on your end, and we want you to start using the mapping tool as quickly as possible too. So why don't we make this a last call for questions, comments, feedback right now that we are happy to address. Otherwise, we will happily take all of that offline and work with you independently to address any questions, comments, and feedback that you may have. Going once. Going twice. And I realize that for whatever reason my video had stopped there, so now you can see me. All right, well, let's call it good here. We will send out a recording of this. We will send out the links to the map and to the form. We'll give you some language to share it, and we'll get to work together. Thank you all for making time for this. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to us independently. We'll work with you however we can to bring this to life and make it as useful as possible. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for doing everything that you're doing, and ready, break. Let's go to it. See ya.